Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. And oh my word, we've got our first view of one of the legendary skins from the upcoming Halloween Terror event. So for today's video, we're going to be covering that Swamp Monster Doomfist skin, and later on we're going to be covering some ideas of ours and of yours for what could possibly be changed about Roadhog in the upcoming round of PTR adjustments. So first things first, the Play Overwatch Twitter says, just keep swimming, make a splash with Swamp Monster Doomfist. Now I'm going to be real with you guys, I wouldn't normally gloat about how right our prediction was when all of you guys were saying that this was going to be a skin for Winston. But you know what? I am actually feeling pretty smug. I wonder if you guys can tell through the tone of my voice. Obviously, I'm only playing, but what an amazing skin it has actually turned out to be. I love the turquoise grey scales, the crab-like spines on his gauntlet, the orange almost gill-like fins on either side of his chest, and a particular favourite of mine is the little seashell bracelet he's got on his left hand. But I think if we're honest, the face is actually where the skin most shines. The deep black eyes, the layering of the scales, the fins at the top of his head and to the side really help actualise that creature from the Black Lagoon aesthetic. I think this is going to be one of those event skins that people just use all year round. It's that good in my opinion. And if this first one is typical of the kind of quality that we're going to get this year, I think it's safe to say not many of us will have credits by the end of the event. You guys will have to let me know how you feel about this skin. Are you as impressed as I am, or are you somehow unfeasibly underwhelmed? The only question that remains then is just how many guesses for the skins we got right from that secret achievement image on the PTR. I'm still fairly set that Sombra will get the Bride skin. Soldier 2 seems like a fairly decent guess at either a Jason hockey mask or the Hannibal Lecter-like one that FREEDO suggested. I'm much less secure about what I guessed would be a Brigitte Knight skin. A lot of you guys wrote in the comments of that video that that could easily be for Genji, and on reflection, I think you guys might be right. The other two are still a little bit more up in the air. We did say that the top left one could be some sort of bat costume for Roadhog, but a lot of you guys thought that it might be for Hammond, maybe even complete with a giant pumpkin wrecking ball. I'm actually excited to see the rest of the daily reveals because I still don't really know what the top middle one is or who it's for. My guess was for Moira or Symmetra, but I could easily see that being wrong. Look out for videos on the channel covering the rest of these, and do let me know what you guys actually think about the Doomfist Swamp Monster. Moving on, the next thing we're going to be talking about is Roadhog. I just want to say at the beginning here that some of the gameplay from today's video will be from the top player and streamer Harbaloo. His Roadhog is legendary, and I'll put a link to his stream down in the description box below. I highly suggest you go and check it out. Now, Jeff mentioned in a forum post that Roadhog was going to receive some attention on the PTR to help balance or tune him further, but that oddly enough, some of what they were doing required animation work, so it didn't go through with the last round of changes. I think it's quite likely that those changes go through tomorrow night, so we thought it was a good idea to talk about where he actually is right now and what he would need to make him less exploitable and more reliable. We asked you guys on Twitter for your opinion on the matter, and some of the replies will feature in this video. I'm going to try and make this video as fun as possible because I am aware that some people think the best thing you should do with this character is press the delete key. As with all these types of videos, we really welcome your ideas too, so if you agree or disagree with anything mentioned here, let us know in the comment section down below. Off meta, off tank. Right, so let's begin by looking at what's wrong with Hog. Well, the first thing I'd say is that despite him being very exploitable, he's actually a little underrated in specific matchups that are very common right now. Hook will always be a strong form of crowd control, and it can be a very effective answer to two of the S tier heroes in this meta. Hammond and Doomfist are really strong, they form a significant part of this control meta that we find ourselves in, and neither of them enjoy being hooked over and over. Doom in particular can take over games with his wham bam thank you ma'am impact kit, and unlike other flanker mobility heroes, is a bit easier to drag into a shotgun blast with Hog. Crowd control and the resulting damage has always been Hog's biggest strength, and in this particular case he can still find value, maybe even to the point where your opponents have to swap. The problem comes with other heroes that are also very meta. Ana in particular makes Hog's life a complete nightmare. Sleep Dart, which is very easy to hit on such a fat target, can save people from the shotgun blast after a hook. It can negate his whole Hog ult, stop him from healing, etc. Anti-nade 2 can make Hog look a bit pathetic, as using his take a breather to tank damage and escape after trying to make a play is a big part of his playstyle, and that gets completely wrecked by one Bionade. But the real killer is Brig. He can quite easily lose the duel with her because of her shield, and all of her abilities either stuff his, like Ana's do, or save things that he's trying to eliminate. It's not fun. Plus, I want to talk about shield break for a moment. Hog was good at it even after his fall off nerf, But the thing is, shield break isn't really a thing. In this meta, it's not about who can break the Rhine shield first, it's about who can use their big impact cooldowns most efficiently. This meta is about manipulating positioning, hitting an ability, and bang, you're done. It's the same reason why Soldier isn't very good. If you're left with nothing to do other than shoot shields in front of you, then you probably need to be picking something else, because chances are your opponents will have found value way before any shield break becomes relevant. Overall, here's what's wrong with Hog. He's a fat DPS who can be easily shut out. His impact hooks can be negated by Zarya and D.Va, he doesn't protect his team at all, and his ability to sustain is one of the easiest things to counter in the entire game. If you're looking for a recipe in the how to make a hero niche cookbook, Hog would be on the first page. So what needs to be done? Well, reliability. The very first idea I had was to make a very small change to how his ammo works. If you hit a hook, you should always have the capacity to follow up. I think when you successfully hook a target, 1 round is automatically put into his weapon. No more tier 1 hooks only to have to reload and watch your enemy laugh in your face as they run away and you get slept, anti-naded and deleted. Now some might say that's the Hog's fault, and it is kind of true, but here's my reasoning. Managing the 5-shot clip isn't that hard, it's just a bit needless. I get it, you don't want him to shoot forever, fine. But I'm only talking about 1 round just so he can always shoot post-hook. It doesn't make his hook any less counterable, it's just a quality of life adjustment to make him fractionally more reliable. Oddly enough, I'm not in favour of just giving him more ammo overall like some of you have suggested, I just want him to be able to keep up with the pace of Overwatch as it currently plays. Sometimes the money hook opportunity comes at a point that's not convenient for the flow of his reload cycle. D.Va can fly, shoot forever and eat grabs. 1 round really isn't that much to ask. Now the second suggestion I have was also echoed quite a lot by you guys on Twitter. Hog's Take a Breather is currently solely for him, but it doesn't have to be. What if, when you use the ability, you also put out a small radius heal for your team, similar to Soldier's health pack? If that were to happen, Hog could function in a similar way to the cart does on attack sides of payload maps, whereby weak teammates could sidle up next to him for some much needed protection. This would be more of a legit tanking ability and would give him the capacity to contribute more than just his hook CC and damage. I've even seen some people suggest that it should not only heal teammates, but put out a noxious gas cloud that would anti-heal enemies within its radius for a short time. Not like an actual Ana anti-nade in terms of duration, but enough to add a little risk of bundling on top of him as he uses it. Now I'm not going to lie, I do like this idea. It would allow him to use it aggressively too, strolling forward as part of a death ball into your enemy's formation and popping it, giving your team that window of opportunity, especially against brig heals. That might sound a little bit too strong, but again, it'd still be very counterable. Sleeps, an actual anti-nade or a brig stun, and it'd be outplayed. It would also need animation work, you know what I mean, Jeff? Its aura would need to be visible to both sides. Maybe this is what Blizzard are working on, fingers crossed, right? Another idea in the same vein is to give Hog the ability to break armor somehow, or at least make him more efficient against it. Currently his main weapon is weak to it. As a spread that hits multiple tiny pellets, each one gets its damage debuffed by the armor. That's a bit of a problem when Brig is, well, Brig, and hook targets can get saved from death by one of her health packs, and rally armor is still in a lot of matches. You could just flat out make his gun an exception, because it's made up of jagged junk pieces it finds the gap in the armor. I don't know, it doesn't have to make a fantastic amount of sense. The in-game utility is more important than any break in in-game logic. I just think doing that would make the edge he's supposed to have, as in hitting money hooks, that much better, and more even in comparison to some other cooldown's power level. Whatever you think, hitting a hook is harder than a brig stun, and she has insta-kills too. It's not like Hog can third-person hide round a corner to surprise you. I mean, it'd be funny to watch some people try. Now moving on, obviously I can't talk about Hog's reliability and not mention the problems the hook still has with its line of sight breaks that happen when you haven't actually broken line of sight. Some eccentric followers that we have on Twitter were even suggesting we return to the dark days of Hook 1.0. You know, the space and time hook, capable of hooking players in entirely different games on different maps. Now Roadhog is actually one of my better heroes, and despite how tempting it would be to just say, yeah, that sounds great, I don't think we need to go that far. It is funny to think about though, that in a lot of ways, old Hog was a precursor to the meta we find ourselves in now. Hit this big value cooldown for quote unquote easy impact and repeat as often as possible. It's stuck out in previous metas, but ask yourself, the way the game plays now, is it not all about that kind of utility? Brig stuns, Doomfist combos, Sombra hacks, Hammond pile drivers, Ana sleeps, etc. The power levels really aren't that disparate. Some are harder maybe, sure, but now there's just way more of them around. As I said, I don't think Hog's hook needs to be rolled back that far, but it certainly needs to feel less buggy and a little bit more tolerant. You need to have confidence that when you actually hit it, you're going to drag something into you, perhaps even if they were moving into cover ever so slightly as it registered. If you think that's too much, then I have a one-phrase counter-argument. Storm Arrow is a real thing. There you go, I win Kappa. FREEDO has also talked about how they could change the timing of the hook to make it acquire targets faster in some way in his video from when the changes were first announced. So maybe the hook activates quicker, so the delay between pressing the button and it registering would be reduced. I don't hate that, but as he noted, players would also have to relearn muscle memory a little bit. Also mentioned was the idea that you could just reduce its cooldown to say 6 seconds, something a lot of you guys on Twitter agreed with. But I think for most Hog players, the problem isn't the cooldown, it's how unreliable it is. Is having more unreliable hooks better or just more frustrating? Personally, it's about wanting the hooks that I do hit to stand a better chance of getting value. That's the key. You guys will have to let me know how you feel about that. The root of all the ideas that we've talked about today is to make the reasons why you'd pick him more concrete. By no means do I think he should get all of these changes all at once. Maybe he only needs one of them. And the reason I say that is that I'm aware that some people still hate Hog. They don't like dying to hook, and I can understand that. It does make you feel powerless if the Hog player is constantly getting value, but let's be real, currently that's not very common at all. Think back to earlier, all the other off tanks have very definable reasons why you'd pick them. Currently there's very few reasons or situations where a Hog pick is justifiable over them. I don't want him to be overpowered either, I just want him to be able to compete. And that's about it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff.